wedding's coming up and you want everybody to have a great time. One way to measure if your guests are having a fantastic time is if they're dancing all night. I've had couples ask me, hey, is there anything we can do to make sure that people are dancing at our wedding? Well, yes, there is. I'm DJ Ivan with Synapse Entertainment, and I'm going to tell you 10 ways to get the party started right, and then I'm going to tell you 5 dance floor killers to avoid. I'll start off by saying that timing does matter. If you have a dry wedding on a day when everyone has to go to work the next morning, it might not be quite as lively as a wedding that takes place on a Saturday or a holiday weekend that gives your guests more time to travel and recover. If you did schedule your wedding on a less desirable date, don't worry, there's still plenty you can do to get the dance floor going. It's a good idea to get guest requests ahead of time. I've seen couples do this on their wedding invitations, but one of the most efficient ways to do this is by having a page on your website for requests. This way, your DJ can get to know some of the music that your guests want to hear. You can get your creative juices flowing for what kind of music that you want to request. And also, you can veto any songs that you definitely don't want to hear at your wedding. It's important to have a good DJ. You want to pick one who has a good reputation for weddings, can mix music, and is easy to work with. A quality DJ might be a little more expensive, but you have to think about how much you're spending on a venue, how much you're spending on your catering, how much you're spending on photos, and then think, is it worth it saving just a little bit of money on a DJ, but risking a bad reception? Make a dance-friendly floor plan. Some venues have their floor plans set in stone, but others are more flexible. You can always ask. First, you want to make sure your dance floor is the right size for your head count. A dance floor that's too small will make it crowded and hard to dance. One that's too large will make it seem like nobody's on the floor, even if a decent portion of your crowd is dancing. Next, put a bar near the dance floor if you can. That way, if your guests want to go get a drink, they don't have to go too far away, because if they have to go to another room or a different portion of the venue, then they might not come back for a while. Lastly, you want to put the DJ near the dance floor, because the DJ will be able to feed off the crowd more easily, and your guests will be more likely to make requests. I had barn weddings where they put me and all my equipment up in the loft, and I'm straining to look down and see everyone down below on the dance floor. A pro tip is when you're doing your seating chart, you can put your dance-loving friends and family closer to the dance floor. They're more likely to get on the dance floor early and encourage others. If you want to get your guests going early, you can start with people already on the dance floor. One way to do this is by having your last event before the dance floor opens, like your mother-son dance, for example, have your guests join halfway through. Your DJ can announce this. That way you'll have people on the dance floor already when it's time to start dancing. If you want to go big, you can use an idea that I learned from a photographer. Ask the photographer to have a group shot of everyone on the dance floor right before dance time starts. As soon as they finish with the picture, the DJ hits the music with an upbeat song and gets everybody going. Make an effort to choose your anthems. When you're compiling requests for your DJ ahead of time, think about music that might have special meaning to you and your crowd. Remember to ask your parents and any grandparents coming what music they'd like to dance to, either fast or slow. One tip that you can use if you're stuck is to think about music that people might have liked or was popular around the time that they were graduating from high school. If you pick music that was popular when they're in their late teens and early 20s, it's often a winner. If your guests are dressing up for your wedding, they may not be wearing the most comfortable shoes. For many ladies, that means high heels, and it's hard to dance when you're in pain. So you could consider having some inexpensive but comfortable flip-flops or flats in a basket near the DJ table so that your guests can party without pain. Consider adding a little flavor to your dance floor. You could do this by having a dance-off between either 2 people or 2 parties of people. You could also have a Soul Train dance line. You could even consider things like having light-up jewelry, foam sticks, and inflatable props that can also be a lot of fun. Stay in the mainstream with your music. I love underground music, but at a wedding you don't want to expose people to too much music that they don't know. It can clear a dance floor. I once had a groom who insisted on the final song of their wedding night to be this really obscure track that no one had ever heard before. Looking around the room, I could tell that a lot of the guests were wondering what was going on and felt like they weren't part of the joke. It ended what had been an otherwise really fun wedding on a somewhat awkward note. Enhance your dance with dance lights. A lot of DJ companies offer lighting that will flash and bounce to the beat in various colors and patterns. This can create some extra excitement and energy on the dance floor. Now, not everybody is into dance lights at a wedding. Some people consider it a little too clubby, but it is something to think about. Bride and groom on the dance floor. Your guests want to be with you and they want to celebrate with you. So, if you're on the dance floor, where do you think other people are going to be? It doesn't even matter if you're great dancers. No one's going to be judging you at your wedding. Here's a little tip. If you'd like to, go on YouTube and look up some videos where there are some simple dance moves you can look at. You might get some good ideas. I'll link some below. Now I'm going to share 5 dance floor killers that will suck the life out of your dance floor. First, having people sit too long. I realize there's a lot of events to get in after cocktail hour. In addition to dinner, you've got toasts, blessing, first dance, parent dances, and possibly visiting tables. But you really want to limit it to 90 minutes or so for people sitting, because if they sit too long, it's hard to move the inertia to dance later. Make sure your dinner music isn't too mellow. Now, there's nothing wrong with slow songs during dinner time. They can be great, especially during the first part of dinner. However, during the latter parts, you really want to start to pick up the pace a little bit more, and make it build towards dance time. If not, you might put your guests to sleep. A good DJ will do this anyway. You should remember to tell your DJ, hey, make sure you pick up the tempo near the end of dinner, especially that last 15 to 20 minutes. Your venue is too bright. When dance time starts, the lights should really be dimmed. This makes people feel less inhibited and more like dancing. Now, every once in a while I've run into a venue that either can't dim the lights or can't turn off certain lights to make it more dark on the dance floor, which is not a good thing. It's a bummer. The other thing I've run into is bistro lights. I think bistro lights are great. They look fantastic, except if they're all over the dance floor and making it too shiny. Don't stick to one kind of music. Have a variety. You have guests of different ages, interests, and tastes at your wedding. You want the DJ to get a little bit of something on for everyone so they can have that special feeling and hopefully hit the dance floor. You might have a favorite kind of music, and you can have plenty of it, but just make sure there's a variety on first. And don't alienate a portion of your guests, because they might not dance at all, or worse, decide to leave early. You even want some slow songs on too. I love faster music, but I do acknowledge that there's some people who will only dance as couples during slow songs. You don't want too many interruptions once dance time starts. Ideally, you take care of most events in the reception before the dance floor opens. There are cases when people want to have things like cake cutting or a bouquet toss, anniversary dance, midway through dance time. In that case, I suggest doing them maybe an hour into dancing and couple them together. That way you can get back to free dancing after that. It's disruptive to the energy of the dance floor if you keep stopping again and starting and stopping and starting. So there you have it, ways of getting the party started and ways of killing the dance floor at a wedding. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. Consider subscribing if you'd like more helpful content like this. In the comments, you can add anything that you think either enhances or detracts from the dance floor at a wedding. I'm DJ Ivan with Synapse Entertainment.